I'm doing it, sailing around the world, actually racing a sailboat all the way around the planet. This year, I've watched the videos, I've read blogs and listened to stories from people who've done it. And yet, I still don't really know what I got myself into. Because by the way, I've hardly ever sailed before. I'm Tim, an electrical engineer by schooling and a technical manager by trade. But at heart, I'm a crafter, wood turner, wet plate photographer, motorcyclist, and soon-to-be ocean yacht racer. Let me start this story by rewinding a few decades. I grew up along the St. Johns River in Florida. I'm the youngest of 7 kids, and I was socially awkward, shy, and very much a dreamer of big dreams. When I was a kid, the America's Cup was big news. At the time, the trophy had been firmly owned by American teams for over 130 years. Not so much anymore. Back then, it was raced on beautiful 12-meter sailboats. So my dreams were about sailing with Captain Outrageous himself, Ted Turner, on boats like Courageous or Tenacious, and doing it in big seas and winning big yacht races. My family was comfortable, but not well off by a long shot. As a kid, I made money doing odd jobs around the local marina. I would ride my bike down to check the bilges of boats when the owners were away, or scrub their teak decks when they were back. My dream was to build a boat and race it single-handed around the world in a race called the BOC Challenge. But it was all just a dream. I had no way to go beyond reading magazines studying boat plans. And since college was not in my future either, I enlisted in the U.S. Navy and went off to see the world. That's when I really felt the pull of the sea. I vividly remember the moment we left the shipyard and headed out of Pascagoula, Mississippi into the Gulf of Mexico. It was dreary and gray, and I saw land slip below the horizon for the first time. I just stood out on deck and stared behind us, dumbstruck by the open ocean. I went from the Navy to college to a career as an engineer, and I left my dreams of life at sea behind. Still, I'd ramble about sailboats and blue water sailing to anyone who would listen. My wife heard it often, and I remember talking to my late brother-in-law Bob about racing little boats like lasers and sunfish. He was tall and lanky and could probably rock it in light winds, where my big stocky self would kick butt in a hard blow. All just talk though, just dreams. I have an amazing wife, 2 great kids, and 0 regrets. But still, it never left me. Fast forward to around 2018, and a YouTube channel catches my eye. It was 2 guys pouring a massive lead keel for a wooden boat named Arabella. They were building it by hand from trees they cut down themselves. And out came the boat plans I've been hoarding since I was a kid. Then another YouTube series rekindled my fanboy memories of Tenacious pounding through the waves in the 1979 Fastnet race. This channel was about rebuilding from the keel up the rotting hulk of Tally-Ho, the boat that won the 1927 Fastnet race. Well, recently Acorn to Arabella splashed that handmade sailboat, and Tally-Ho has slip lines to head back to race around Fastnet Rock again. I will share links to both. They are inspiring stories of woodworking, sailing, and just sheer willpower. I'm pretty realistic. I know I don't have enough runway to build a boat and sail the world and still knock the things off the bucket list my wife and I have. So I found a way to go straight to the sailing and racing and even the circumnavigating. This fall, I will crew on the Clipper Around the World yacht race. 40,000 nautical miles, 6 continents, 3 oceans, and 11 months at sea. It sounds incredible, right? It's a once-in-a-lifetime adventure for me. I'll be spending weeks at a time focused on nothing but making the sailboat go faster, and that might be the hardest thing I'll ever do. I mean, I've done tough things before. I survived military boot camp and I was in the U.S. Navy. I crossed oceans, steamed through a hurricane, even sailed above the Arctic Circle in October storms. I crossed North America on a motorcycle battling dust storms, desert heat, even snow. But this is completely different, because this time I won't be on a huge battleship. I won't be able to just go below and ride out a storm. And I won't be able to pull into a hotel and hop off the motorcycle for the night. This time, I'll be on a 70-foot stripped-down racing yacht, part of a crew of sailors relying only on the wind, training, and each other. I know my limits are somewhere out there on the open ocean. There are probably a few places I will meet them face to face. Unknown X's on the map, places where I know deep down that I will just want to quit, where I will believe I can go no further. With luck, those places will be far offshore, somewhere I can't just pack my bag and go home, because out there in the middle of the ocean, there is no quitting. There's no stepping off the boat and going home. There's only leaning on the people around you and finding a way forward. That's something I've felt before. It's why I loved my time in the Navy. It's why I ride motorcycles and run for the wall supporting veterans. It's why some of my best photography projects, like the Community Tintype project, were built around the idea of teamwork and camaraderie and great people. I know when I hit those breaking points, when the hard X's on the map become real moments in the journey, it won't just be about me anymore. It will be about the people around me pulling me forward when I don't think I can stand another watch or eat another bowl of porridge. I really wonder how I will handle weeks at sea with barely any sleep. How will I handle freezing cold nights and scorching hot days? How will I handle the moments when nothing is going right and we're exhausted, battered, and still have 2,000 miles to go? I honestly don't know, but that's why I'm doing this, because there's really only one way to find out, and that's to go do it. I think I know what I'm getting into. Clipper has been around for nearly 30 years. This race will be its 14th edition, and there are tons of blogs, videos, even a book about the experience. I know that we'll start in the UK, visit 6 continents, make 4 ocean crossings, and race for 11 months. We'll be competing against 10 other teams across 14 grueling races. But knowing something and experiencing it, not the same thing. Because I have no real idea what it will feel like to spend weeks at sea on a sailboat, to trust my life to teammates who are now unknown strangers, and to push through exhaustion, frustration, and fear to keep going. We don't just show up and go off to race. Every crew member has to train first, no matter their experience level. And Clipper training is no joke. I've completed 2 of the 4 training levels so far, and they've already pushed me in ways I didn't expect. We're learning how to handle a 70-foot racing yacht in every condition, from calm waters to full-on storms. We're drilling sail changes, emergency maneuvers, helming, and safety. We train for man-overboard rescues and abandoning ship. All the things you hope never happen, but you have to be ready for at every moment. Heck, the Royal Yachting Association training has already taught me the 2 most important rules of sea survival. 1, keep the water on the outside of the boat. And 2, always step up into a life raft. And yet, even with all this preparation, I really don't know what I'm in for. Life on a Clipper yacht is nothing like a luxury cruise. It's raw, it's intense, and it's unpredictable. One day, we'll be flying across the water feeling unstoppable. The next, we'll be in the middle of a storm with waves crashing over the deck, and the boat heeling so hard it feels like it might capsize. Spoiler alert, it won't. The Clipper 70s are tough ocean-going sailboats. And yet, storms aren't the worst thing we'll face. There's something even more terrifying to sailors than storms. Something that has frightened seagoing men for centuries. That is sailing into a wind hole, drifting, stuck on a glassy sea, waiting days for the wind to return. Storms test your endurance. Wind holes test your patience and your sanity. We'll live in tight quarters, rotate cooking duties, and hoist sails by hand. Inside the yacht, everything will be wet. Everything will be moving, and we'll be exhausted. We'll push through frigid nights in the Southern Ocean and brutal heat near the equator. We'll run on teamwork, adrenaline, and sheer willpower. There are moments that will make this worth it. At least that's what past Clipper sailors say. They talk about the feeling of accomplishment after you sail across an ocean. The first time they saw whales, dolphins, or an albatross in the Southern Ocean. The pure thrill of surfing a 49-ton yacht down a massive wave at 30 knots, powered by nothing but wind and gravity. The solitude when the fleet is spread out and the closest vessel just might be the International Space Station orbiting above. And the thing I really can't wait to see? A night sky full of stars. I got to see it in the Navy. That deep black cloak with brilliant points of light only seen in the middle of an ocean, with the Milky Way shining brighter than you'll ever see it on land. I have a few X's of my own marked on the map that will be special to me. I've dubbed them Point Zulu, Point Sierra, Point Lima, Point Charlie, and Point Henry, in that order. As I share my journey, I will share the meaning of those. Why am I doing this is a great question. Well, a friend passed along a quote from someone who raced before. You need to be clear on your why for doing this. For me, why is 3 simple things. Cross the equator, go as far south as the ocean allows, and complete a circumnavigation. Be a circumnavigator. You know, time only goes in one direction. It ticks relentlessly forward. I think about how lucky I am to be sitting here with body and spirit intact. Maybe not the studly young sailor that put to sea on a battleship, but healthy enough to sail the Clipper race. Well, hopefully. I think about those we've lost, like Bob, who I mentioned before, a solid guy that helped awkward me feel welcome in my wife's family. He lost his battle with cancer over a decade ago when he was just in his 40s. He left behind a family and I'm sure many, many once-in-a-lifetime dreams unlived. I'm lucky for sure. So as part of my Clipper journey, I will be fundraising in Bob's name for Duke University's Preston Robert Tisch Brain Tumor Center. They helped him fight his battle to the bitter end, and this way maybe my adventure can help others live a few more adventures too. More on that in the next month or so. For now, welcome to my journey. I hope you will follow along